Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I am sitting across from Lewis Guerra. Hey, Drew.
How's it going, Jeff? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for coming in person. Lord knows Zoom's always an option, but it's always better to talk in person.
Yeah, it's one of the perks of living in LA, right? We get to be face to face.
It is, and we're both LA based. Are we both San Fernando Valley based?
Yeah, I'm in North Hollywood.
Nice. I grew up there.
Did you really?
That's my hometown. I moved so far. I'm in Sherman Oaks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was like 15 minutes. wasn't bad at all.
There were other places I lived, by the way, but yeah, but you are here.
I am.
I'm going to do your intro properly because your film, The Last Light, was at Film Invasion Los Angeles in June of 2025. Took home not enough awards for me, by the way, but you won 2 wonderful awards. You got Outstanding Cast Performance in a Drama. I'm going to name your actors. Fiona Renee and Herman Gambier. Mm-hmm. Get close on that?
Gambier, but yeah, close enough. Yeah.
And wonderful acting. Oh my God, so good. And you also won Outstanding Cinematography for a drama for your cinematographer, Wesley Quinn.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah, we were really excited to take those awards home.
Forgive me, but I'm like, why the fuck didn't he win Best Writing? Like Best Screenwriting? But it's fair. It's fair.
There was a lot of great films that we saw during the festival, so we did not take it. It did not hurt our feelings one bit. We were happy to win.
I appreciate that. And the truth is, yeah, it's a jury, and
mm-hmm.
That's why actually the inside joke is I have those Programmers Prize awards so that I never have to put my finger on the scale.
You just can't pick.
If I'm truly mad, I'm like, wait a minute, that masterpiece isn't getting. I can just be like, no, I get to give it my own personal award. But instead of calling it the Jeff Award or Jeff Loves It, it's called the Programmers Prize.
Yeah, it's got a better ring to it, I think.
It does, even though they've changed when we started these 10 years ago, it was Festival Programmer. Now it's Festival Runner.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Programmer's not a thing anymore?
Well, I think it still is, but the Festival Runner runs the whole thing.
Oh, so it's sort of the position above the programmer, if you will, like the head
I
honcho.
Guess.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows?
I just adopted, hey, my signature changed. That's all I know.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so this amazing film was at Film Invasion LA, and you're still on the festival circuit.
Still on the festival circuit.
People can't watch it yet.
Not yet. No, probably around the end of the year.
End of the year, which is not too,
I know.
It's scary.
Very close.
Time flies, man. But if and when, if you remember, just fire off an email to me with a link whenever you release it so that people can check it out.
For sure, I will. If you're listening to this in 2026, just search on Vimeo The Last Light with my name and you'll find it.
The Last Light, Lewis Guerra. Exactly. Or even just Drew Guerra. That'll work. Mm-hmm. Heck, even The Last Light Drew.
Yep.
I even bet it's probably not an overused title. It's a good original title, I think.
I didn't find any. I always like to search the internet and search IMDb, search my brain for a title that hasn't been used before. And you don't always find one that hasn't been used. But yeah, I was surprised and very happy when I was like, oh yeah, there's not really a film with that title.
Needless to say, I have a huge smile because I wish everyone was as smart as you are. Because sometimes there's a wonderful film and it's got a title and it's like on IMDb, it's like the 37th film with that title.
Yeah, that's
and you're good. Like, we can't search it. We can't, it's hard to attach the awards to it. All kinds of things happen.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can get away with like a film that's like from the 40s with the same title, but hasn't been used since. Maybe only in like a music album or something like that's fine. But yeah, I generally try to stay away from, especially like other short films with that title. Like, definitely not.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. No, it's a funny thing, titles. And
it is. I had a whole meeting about titles yesterday for this feature that I'm trying to get off the ground.
Nice.
Yeah. It was like a 2-hour meeting just to go over titles, and I don't even think we landed on one that we liked. But we found a direction that we like. So
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's an excellent segue for me to stop rambling about silliness and get to the crux of the matter, because you're already working on another project, which is excellent. But let's go back to the beginning.
Sure.
I've warned you I was going to ask you because I'm eternally grateful to the creatives like yourself who are making films that allow us to have a great film festival. So how did you get involved in filmmaking? Were you a creative kid? Did you get the bug early?
Definitely. Well, first of all, thank you for the compliments. And also thank you for what you do, because I think it's sort of a mutual beneficial two-way road kind of a relationship between filmmakers and festival runners, not festival programmers. No, but a little bit about my story. Yes, I did start young. I was sort of always creative as a child, starting with, painting in kindergarten, and got into drums really early at like 8. I started learning drums, and then fast forward to when I was around 11 or 12, my dad had actually won a VHS-C camcorder in a raffle at work. And he didn't want it. He didn't know he was not interested in it at all. But immediately I saw it and was gravitated towards it. And I was like, can I use this? And started shooting everything. From home videos to pranks with my friends to coming up with stories and having my friends act them out. And at the time I was basically editing in camera.
I was about to ask, editing. It sounds like you were editing in camera.
I would edit in camera, so kind of just pick up where I left off, stop the scene, start the next scene. And I didn't have any tools to really edit bay to bay non-linearly. But then what I would do that was kind of, I look back on, I'm like, oh, that was kind of clever. I would rewind to the beginning, and I would record like a slideshow title card from my computer screen with like music in the background as like the intro. So I'd have like a title sequence that I would like kind of insert in there. But anyway, so that's kind of like what started the fascination with the camera. Like I was literally just like fascinated by how anything could become beautiful through the lens, right?
And you learned, because you had probably been writing short stories and other things, and then your natural storytelling, you saw, I can tell stories with this thing.
Yes.
And VHS-C I remember it well, because it was, there was an adapter and you could just pop it into any VCR and hit play, and that's a big deal.
That was the thing, yeah. That was always the end goal for me, was the ability to share it with my family and my friends, like in real time, like shoot something that day, and then that night we all get popcorn and we watch it, and everyone just gets to see themselves on TV, and that was just like such a thrill. And then fast forward to high school in 9th grade, I was lucky enough to have a high school teacher that ran a video tech program, but he ran it like a film school. His name was Roger Soden. At Humble High School, and
did you say Humble?
Humble. The H is actually
silent.
I
failed to ask where you grew up.
Yeah, so I grew up in Kingwood, Humble, which is suburbs of Houston, Texas.
Got it.
Yeah. So my teacher Roger Soden, Mr. Soden, we called him, was hugely inspirational for me, because he ran this video tech program like a film school, where the entire semester grade was based off of a film that you were to write, direct, cast, light, shoot, edit, and that would be your grade for the entire year.
Right, one project. Yeah.
One project.
Not tests along the way.
Nope, and then he would have us submit it to festivals. Like he was really trying to I guess inspire those of us that ended up becoming filmmakers to do what we do.
That is so cool, because
awesome.
Obviously I'm biased as pro festival, but a lot of young people don't even know that there's a world out. But he was also creating a situation where you could have strangers acknowledge your work.
Yes.
That's huge.
It was huge, yeah. And so like, my camera game stepped up to like a Canon GL2, and now we're shooting on, mini DV, using 35 millimeter lens adapters, and that was like a game changer, and everything. I was like, this is incredible. How could it get any better? Like the quality. And he's teaching us editing on, they may or may not have been pirated versions of Avid that were on the computers, like at the time that was unbelievable. I was learning Avid in 9th, 10th grade, learning After Effects in 9th and 10th grade. So I ended up, every year during high school, I made a short film, and those were sort of my first films. So like my first short film I made at 15, and then made one every year in high school. And then
Is that because you got to repeat the class, or like you made one in the class? So you got to do the class over and over too.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
That's so cool that it wasn't like one and done.
No. I actually ended up lettering in videotech. Like I didn't even know it was a thing, but it was like looking back on it, I was so proud of that. I'm like, that's the only thing I lettered in was videotech. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And
Houston, that's where you're supposed to play football and shit, right? Like that's like everyone worships sports there.
For sure.
So it's really cool to have a letterman. You probably didn't bother with the jacket, or did you?
No, but I had a rope when we graduated. I had like a videotech rope, and everyone was like, "What's that one?" I was like, "It's videotech."
Nice.
I was like very proud of that.
That's cool.
But funny enough, I ended up graduating high school, and I had never really put two and two together where I had seen filmmaking as a viable option for my career path. I was just like, it's the thing that I do that I love. It's my passion. Something hadn't connected yet where I could do this for a living. So when I graduated high school, my grades were average. I literally graduated like in the middle of the pack of like 1,000 students. But because of that, I didn't have my choice really on colleges to go to. So I was like, found myself needing to go to a community college for a couple of years to kind of figure it out. And during that time, I was like, well, I guess I'll study accounting. I was like, it seems like something that people do. And so while I'm studying accounting and failing accounting, I'm also taking After Effects classes, photography classes, and like all the fun stuff in that community college as well, which I'm like loving and enjoying. And this is great. I'm living on my own for the first time in an apartment with some friends, and basically end up failing out of community college because lo and behold, I wasn't meant to be an accountant. But so through that sort of, failure, embarrassment, my mom actually suggested, she goes, why don't you go to film school? And then this light bulb came off over my head. I was like, I can do that? That's an option. So we went and visited this school called Full Sail in Orlando, like that summer. And, I remember walking the back lots that were like designed by Universal Studios and seeing all of the lighting and all the cameras, and we get to shoot on film. And it was just like a playground in this academic setting. And I was just like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So literally the next semester I signed up for that school, and, in 2 years I was able to get a 4-year degree and graduate with a film studies bachelor degree. And just more of the same, like I remember showing up and being like, hey guys, let's share each other's scripts and let's shoot something. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're not writing scripts? Like, we need to be writing scripts and shooting them. We have access to these cameras and stuff. They're like, we can do that? Like they were like, no one was really, I guess, like on that path. And it was fun to kind of be the inspiration for people who were like, oh yeah, actually let's do that. So I would write something and shoot it, and then that would inspire someone else to write something and shoot it. I was like, we're only here for 2 years. Let's get our money's worth out of this stuff. So that was really fun, just to be like around like-minded people and to, I guess, sort of learn for the first time the like real technical aspect of filmmaking, like the craftsmanship, like the lighting labs.
Yeah, for you were refining talents that you were already working on.
Correct.
Whereas probably for some other people, they were just like learning from scratch.
For sure.
But yeah, you had such a great background that you could get the most out of it.
For sure. And I really did feel like I got so much out of it. So then, 2010, I graduate from Full Sail. I'm kind of trying to figure out where I'm going to move to. I'm like, do I move back home to Houston? Houston didn't really have a good film industry. Still.
By the way, I'm interrupting you with a finger in the air just to give a huge shout out to your mother, because needless to say, the parent who says, why not film school, to the kid who's not thinking about a creative career.
Yeah. She changed my whole life.
That's like 1 in a million, right? That's like 1 in a million. Most parents are like, do it if you have to. But keep accounting on the back of your mind, because come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, both of my parents have been so hugely supportive in my career, I'll call it. But even before then, they were supportive in any creative venture that I ever did. Like, I remember my dad setting up my drums for me when I was in a band. Like, my mom, obviously, being the motivation for me going to film school. And then, flash forward again to graduating film school. I decided to move back home for about a year or so just to kind of like get my feet on the ground, and ended up getting like an editing job at a smaller video production company in Houston.
Yeah, because Houston has like commercial production and industrial stuff. Like
there's a lot of industrial
stuff. I mean,
yeah,
like the third or fourth. Like, didn't it pass Chicago?
Yeah, it is. It is a very large.
It's number
city.
3, but it doesn't have an entertainment industry, but it has a film and video industry.
Adjacent. Yeah, exactly. Where I could use my technical skills, but not necessarily doing the projects that like I'm super passionate about. But I
like, no, I have a really good idea for this car dealer.
yeah. Or it was more like this oil company that needs
that's
like
right. It's
that
all
needs
oil
like
and
an
gas.
internal video for their conference in the fall or something, But those people were great, and I was just happy. I was stoked to be getting paid to just right out of college. It seemed very lucky because a lot of my friends were not. But at the same time, I also started a video production company called Black Canvas in 2011 with my dad. My dad didn't know anything about video production at all, but he knows a lot about business. And so he had an oil company of his own that he was able to sell right around the time I was going to college. So he had some capital that he was willing to invest, not a lot, but enough for me to be like, okay, I can buy my Canon 5D, I can buy a light kit, I can buy what I need to kind of try to grow this. And so I remember we got our first client. It was like Hearst Media doing like a video recap of like a USA gymnastics training or something. So, but it was like a $20,000 project. And I was like, this is incredible. This is our first project ever. And so that was in 2011, started Black Canvas with my dad. Again, both my parents are hugely supportive, continue to be hugely supportive in my life. And then, flash forward a couple years, I moved that company to Austin, which has a better film industry in the city. And I started getting into music videos, producing and directing music videos, more commercial stuff, working with agencies, kind of like starting to level up the game, level up the company, and was there for about 5 years until I felt like I was like, well, I'm kind of at a point where I felt like I was hitting a ceiling in Austin. So I was like, now's as good a time as ever to move to LA. And that was in 2015. I decided to finally move to LA. And it's funny. I moved out here thinking, I'm like, well, I was kind of, I don't want to say I was a big deal in Austin, but I was well known in Austin. Again, I felt like I was hitting a ceiling. I was like, when I come to LA, it should probably just pick it up where I left off, right? And I had, no idea, very naively thought that. But when I got here, I realized, oh yeah, no, I'm starting over from scratch, like completely from scratch. Didn't know anyone out here. And the city is just so competitive and so big, and there's so much talent here that of course it takes 10 years to really break through to anyone, or to build a big enough network that you can rely upon for a living, so that was kind of brutal the first few years, but 5-6 years into it, I finally got my head above water and was able to get to the point where now, year over year, every year is a little bit better than the last year. So
well, look, that's impressive, because you're also showing the fortitude of, I assume there had to be non-entertainment gigs in the beginning, or were you able to get some technical stuff and some editing stuff? Or?
Yeah, I have been lucky enough to stay busy with post-production when I'm not directing. A lot of motion design, a lot of editing, a lot of VFX. Like this year was actually the first year where my company did the full entire visual effects for this indie horror film with a decent budget, and I'm hiring other VFX artists and managing them and taking on some of the work myself. But in answer to your question, yeah, like the post-production stuff has been my bread and butter. It's been the thing that has like kept me alive, because if I was just relying on directing gigs, I would have lasted like 6 months.
Oh yeah, no, it's
it's so hard.
But interesting, and by the way, I guess I'm picking up because there's all these assumptions, but Black Canvas was the so you were actually still running that, like your goal was to establish that business here, like that production company. So yeah, you were actually. It's actually different. It's
like two different goals.
Yeah, I guess in a way I'm just comprehending that you didn't just move here like most people. The average. Oh, that's a terrible word. But I generally hear showed up and just started PAing and this and that, whereas you showed up with a company that had been succeeding. Right, which is a very different perspective.
It's a different path, it's a different perspective for sure. And it's a few times where I'm turning down staff jobs with bigger companies that might be more reliable, steady income because just that I'm trying to grow my own company. So it was a lot of, many times I felt like I didn't think I was going to make it. As a company or even as an individual. And then, in the 11th hour, something would just land on my plate and it would just be enough to carry me to the next season.
And I guess, and that was like 2015 to 2020 was the range, I guess, which is a little too early for remote work. Like it's not like Austin clients could send you.
Right.
Yeah, you couldn't. Like today you could have done the two cities at once thing.
For sure.
For
sure. Yeah, no, 100%. But funny you mentioned like the remote thing because I think I had like positioned the company and had just enough legs in the city and just enough sort of momentum with the company to where when the pandemic did happen and everyone shifted to that remote work model, I was like perfectly positioned to like take that on. And so now 100% of the work that I do is remote, and sometimes it's with clients in New York, sometimes it's with clients in Culver City, but like rarely am I actually, especially if it's post-production work, rarely am I actually like going anywhere. It's like it's all done, which I actually kind of prefer, at least for post-production work. I like to just do it remotely in my own facilities.
Yeah, and post is the majority?
Post is the majority. It's funny, like I always told myself that I would, like the post-production work was always a means to provide me an outlet to direct, because like if I didn't have a way to pay rent, then there's no way I'm directing anything anyway. So I kind of just always in my head was phasing in between like making money and making movies. I actually used to have a switch on my desk that was like, it's time to like making money, and I'm like on that switch for a few weeks and then making movies, and I like write the script for like a week and then back to making money. And it's just like,
and you would like literally like it's a physical
switch.
That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, because like again, they feed off of each other. Like you have to find a way to make a living in this business if you have dreams to direct or even be a cinematographer or an editor, like whatever it is your ultimate dream is, like you have to survive long enough to get to a point where you can do that. So that I kind of realized that early, and yeah, now so even now it's like I'll be in a season where I'm working 8 weeks for someone else on someone else's project, but then I have time where I can work on my own thing. And that's kind of like the main perk, I think, of working for yourself.
And I'm going to ask about another possible perk, and this is the most leading question. You're going to know the answer I'm looking for.
Okay.
But the question is working on all these other projects, the work for others, are you learning all the time what works, what doesn't? Mistakes they're making at the script level, mistakes they're making at the cinematography, like you're just watching. Certainly. Here I am highlighting mistakes, but also watching what's good, what's bad. So the quality of your work is improved by everything you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's right, especially when it comes to like editorial and post production. But even down to the writing, like you said, like you kind of learn from other people's mistakes. And you have nothing at stake too, which is like the best way to learn when you're literally just hired to make this thing as good as you possibly can make it. And obviously, if I'm hired as an editor, there's quite a bit of influence there. But if I'm only hired to do motion design, then it's really just the graphics that I'm able to influence. But yeah, no, you see a lot of what works, what doesn't, and I think probably more subconsciously than consciously, it starts to spill into your own work, and you start to just raise the bar of like your standard of quality.
For sure. And if you write something and you say, and then you see someone else do something similar, and you can say, oh, I can see a better way to tell this, or right? Like even that happens, I bet.
For sure, absolutely.
Because, well, so you were old, because this is me looking for a segue to The Last Light and how well written it is, like from start to finish. Because but are there other shorts to talk about first?
Yeah, so I've always been a writer as a way to direct something. Like I from a young age, I was always writing my own scripts, but I never really considered myself a writer until, I don't know, maybe like less than 10 years ago. It's funny because I always just thought of myself as a director that just happened to write. But I love writing. I love coming up with ideas. And yes, in answer to your question, I guess the short film before The Last Light that got a lot of attention was called The Traveler. And this was something that I wrote during the pandemic. We shot it in 2022, I believe. Maybe 2021 and released it in we released it in 2023. So we shot it the summer of 2022. So it was right after the pandemic, but I wrote it during the pandemic. And this one was a weird, every script is different in terms of like the writing experience for me. But this one was strange in that it just came to me like a lightning bolt. It was just like, I saw it beginning to end. Just, I don't even remember. I was in my kitchen, like cooking, and I just saw it completely. Like the only thing I had to do was type it out. And I had a first draft typed out in like 2 hours. And so this one was about a hunter-gatherer. The story takes place 17,000 years in the past. There's no dialogue. And it's basically just this man's journey towards trying to find this woman in his life that he had lost. And there's a time travel aspect. I don't want to give too much away because that one you actually can go watch on Vimeo. But I had just seen this vision of my friend Herman, who's actually my roommate. He's an actor, playing this caveman. And I wanted to explore because every time we've seen caveman or cave women on film in the past, they're very like almost ape-like, and it's hard to see ourselves in them. So I was like, wouldn't it be interesting if we could like find a character, find a period in time where these Neanderthals resembled us more, where they're almost like just an ancient version of us, but dealing with the same kind of emotional struggles that we deal with today. Because I had never seen that on film before. So that was like the catalyst for like wanting to write it. And then when it just came to me and I saw all the pieces, it was just like, oh yes, okay, perfect. But yeah, that one I'm really proud of as well.
And I got to say, that's rock solid thinking, because I think we are so narcissistic about ourselves that we're so sophisticated. Mm-hmm. But you go back a couple thousand years,
yeah,
and the stories are the same, and dealing with life and death and war and famine and flood, like
hunger,
we're not
shelter.
that different. We're not that different
yeah.
from our ancestors at all. We think we're so fancy, but we're not.
Right.
So that's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. Yeah, exactly. We're not so different at all. I think it's really just like the world that's changed a little bit around us, with technology, but our struggles and I think even our mindsets are probably very similar to ancient humans that might have lived, 15,000 years ago.
For sure, because no matter what anybody says, we're still just beings who manage to be aware of the fact that life is fragile and temporary. Mm-hmm. And that defines everything about our species.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I assume, and other animals are aware of death too, but I do think that's it. Like,
That's the
the human condition.
That sets us apart. I think is that we
Yeah,
know
we're
gonna
stuck
die.
knowing. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
See, Chester over there, he doesn't know.
No.
Guinea pigs don't know.
It's a blissful life.
It is. I know for sure. Well, so that sounds really cool.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that one. That one, I mean, we shot it on location in the middle of the Mojave Desert in a real cave, real fire. Part of it takes place in a forest in just outside of Santa Barbara. So yeah, it was just, I wanted to do everything practically. I wanted to go on real locations. So that's what that one was. And then with The Last Light, I felt like, okay, I did the whole thing of the challenge of spending a bunch of money on a short film with no dialogue, shooting it on location, multiple locations, and I did that, and that I learned a lot, and that film was successful. I was like, now let me flip the script and let me write a very personal story about two individuals, and let me rely very heavily on the dialogue, and let me make the one location, my apartment, and let me try to do it for as cheaply as possible. And that's what The Last Light was.
Doesn't look as cheap as possible, but that's probably due to large part all the skills you've developed over the years. And so now here's where I mean, literally from the first moment, from the title, the way that title, as the camera pans down or tilts down and the title moves, like, people don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, most filmmakers aren't so thoughtful as to see a moment to like do something. But I got to tell you, and obviously I am, as a viewer, I'm a little weird, right? Because I end up I start about 1,500, like 1,500 indie films per year. I at least start watching them. I don't watch them all to the completion.
For sure.
So it's sort of different than like showing it to some friends who don't watch 1,500 films a year. Right. So I see a million things in The Last Light that are just special and thoughtful. And like when you were watching something and you're like, oh my God, this filmmaker thought of this. This filmmaker thought of that. Like you add depth to your characters and to their personal stories that most people wouldn't have bothered adding to a film. We don't have to worry too much. Well, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it might have an apocalyptic vibe to it.
For sure.
Like most people would have been like, okay, that's enough story. Right. I got that story. But you give different backstory to each character. You give more depth to their relationship. I'm a huge fan of so much. Like,
thank you. Yeah, no, thank you so much for saying that. It's really awesome to hear as someone that cared a lot of care went into the writing. So, and just the overall execution, and a lot of people put a lot of their heart into it. So it's really nice to hear that from someone like you that watches so many films, especially. Like, that is fantastic to hear. So thank you.
And I want to add in also another personal reason is I was always a hater, believe it or not, a hater of When Harry Met Sally, because I think it's complete bullshit that men and women can't be friends.
Right.
And I love that your film is about a friendship between a man and a woman, and there's not a hint of sexual tension.
Right.
Because most people would have thrown in an attraction. You have two very attractive people on screen.
Right.
Most people would have just, you know what I'm saying.
Of course. It was, I'd be lying to you if I told you that the first draft didn't have them kissing at the end. But I ended up ultimately taking it out because I felt like it was more interesting.
It is more interesting.
Yeah.
And
you kind of subvert the expectation of the audience too a little bit, and that they don't,
And we've seen that kiss before. We haven't seen just a loving friendship.
Yep.
Right? We don't get enough friendship on screen, honestly. There's so much romance on screen, because I get it. We've been telling love stories as long as we've been able to use language.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, ultimately was birthed from my personal relationship with both Fiona and Herman, because they're ultimately playing characters that are very close to themselves. And they're their friendship, that chemistry that you see on screen, works so well because they have been friends for so long.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And just super talented actors, both of them.
Yeah, they're great. They're great actors. And it was my first time working with Fiona. I'd been friends with her since I first moved out here. And, you know, I had wanted to work with her as a director and her an actor for years and years. And we had talked about it. And I was like, this isn't going to happen unless I just write it. So let me just write this. And she was very kind to volunteer her time. And, you know, this was in between seasons of, she's on a big hit show on CBS right now called Tracker. So she was in between seasons on that and had like a very small window. So I was like, yeah, just it all lined up perfectly, and she killed it. And despite being like, she had like a sinus infection on like the last day and didn't tell anyone. And
yeah, it doesn't show.
Doesn't show at all. And just like whispered it into my ear after we wrapped. And I was just like, you're a saint, you know, like, God. She's like, yeah, so I can't go out for the wrap party because I just
right. I got to go home. I'm going straight to bed now.
I'm going straight to bed. I'm like, God
right.
bless
Yeah.
you.
I'm not a diva who thinks she's above the cast and crew.
She's so much of a rock star.
I am at the end of I'm about to take
Collapse.
half a bottle of NyQuil and get in bed for a weekend. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. She's a rock star. Herman's a rock star. Yeah, and their chemistry together is just, you can't fake that. You know, and so I think that's why a lot of the reason why that works so well is that they have that friendship. And
you're not an LA native, but I feel like there's a love for the city in your film.
Very much so.
Right?
Yeah, very much so.
And I'm third generation. So to me, like, whenever I admit, hey, the name of the festival is Film Invasion Los Angeles. Right. We're allowed to be biased for pro LA films because, you know, obviously a lot of people might portray LA negatively. And probably justified at times. Mm-hmm. I'd often arm wrestle those folks but
yeah, no, it's very much a love letter, like especially in the opening sequence, you know, and just kind of going back to that opening title card and like the nice things you said about that. In my mind, I always like to
which goes back to when you were a kid.
Yeah,
doing something special with your titles.
Yeah. Oh, I always do something special with the titles, but in my mind, I always have to motivate it. Because like something cool just for cool's sake isn't enough and comes off as trite and forced, and it ends up being not cool. So my motivation for that was like, well, our story ends in the sky, so let's bookend it and start it in the sky too. So that's kind of what that was. But yeah, so the intro to the film, which is kind of just a series of B-roll shots where we went on a scavenger hunt. Herman and I shot those because Wes was out of town for that. We just went on a scavenger hunt. I'm like, okay, let's get a wide shot of the most epic shot of downtown Los Angeles that we can get. Let's get a shot of the Hollywood sign. Let's try to get, you know, shots of traffic. So like we were literally just on foot with the camera, him and I, and a tripod, and just stealing those shots ourselves, basically.
And it's so, I swear, cinematography is a fascinating, someday people have really, someday I want to see a documentary about, because you could shoot the LA freeway in a way that makes LA look shitty, mm-hmm. But you, with affection for the city, there is affection for the city in that shot. Yeah. And I honestly can't tell you the difference between your shot and the ones that are like, oh, look at the traffic. I don't know. Maybe it's music. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But every shot feels like appreciation of LA.
Could have something to do with like the symmetry. There's a lot of symmetry in those opening shots.
Right, yeah, you're making it attractive.
Yeah, making it attractive.
Whereas if you were trying to make it grisly, right. you might have thrown your composition off on purpose.
Yeah, it might be skewed, or there might be like something dirty in the frame that's just, you know. But yeah, I definitely wanted it to feel, in contrast to where we end the film, I wanted it to feel bright and almost like this is like LA in its best light.
Yeah, though you end beautifully too, and with the signature palm tree.
Right.
Like it does feel. It's still.
It's beautiful. It's picturesque.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, aside from maybe like the last few frames, but yeah, no, it's certainly picturesque. But I just wanted it to feel like LA on one of its best days, and then this happens.
Yeah.
You know, and you still get the smog that surrounds the city, but like that's part of it. You know, it's beautiful, and it's ugly, but it's beautiful that it's ugly. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that and I don't know if you know, because I talked about this in my Q&A for the film, but the inspiration for this one came after I read a book called Memories and Misinformation by Jim Carrey. So he, in the book, it's kind of a fictitious telling of his experience while he was living in Hawaii, where something very similar to what happens in the film happens, in that the residents of Hawaii, I think this was 2018, receive a text message on their phone saying, hey, there's a ballistic missile headed towards the main island, seek shelter.
I remember when that happened.
Right? You remember that?
Huge error.
Huge error. It was a big whoopsie. Someone accidentally, but for 38 minutes, the people that were on the island thought that they were going to die. And Jim Carrey was one of those people. And so he writes this book about it. And I read the book, fascinating book. And then at the end of it, I was like, what would I do if I got something like that? What would a person do if they knew that they were going to die in X amount of minutes? What kind of conversations would that bring up? Who would they call? What would they say? And if that happened in LA, there's no going down to a basement. There's no, what shelter can you seek? Parking garage? There's no basements in LA. And not to mention the traffic would be, if you had 35 minutes, you don't want to die on the 405 because like everyone's going to be having the same thought. So these are the questions that sort of inspired me to write The Last Light. And ultimately, I was like, I think I would just end up going up on the roof and embracing it. And just kind of, and at least for these characters, that's kind of what they end up doing.
Well, the truth is, right, with and we'll be generic about it, with the concept of a world-ending event or a species-ending event, because of course the world will be just fine.
Right.
Just geologic time. It just takes a couple million years, and
for sure
it'll be teeming with life again, but probably less than that. But obviously, even if you could shelter, you're going to come up to desolation and starvation anyway. So why not have the best view in the world of something that
be one hell of a show.
Hasn't been seen for a while?
Yeah, be one hell of a show.
Totally not giving away.
No.
Although, at the script, so how long did you work on the script? I was going to ask you that because it's so well refined.
Yeah, I probably worked on it. It's funny, I actually just pulled up the script last week because I was trying to see what convention I used for because I was working on another script and I was like, how did I put a music call out in The Last Light? And I just wanted to use the same format. But anyway, I pulled it up and it was like version 26 was the final version of The Last Light. So I think I worked on it for I want to say 2 months, really, really worked on it for 2 months.
Right. Like a lot of time.
A lot of time. Yeah. A lot of time, and sent it out to people that I trust and revised until ultimately I was like, okay, this is something that is producible. I can shoot it. And it's something that I can be proud of.
And at the script level, the timer on the phone, everything was there in the script.
Funny enough, the timer on the phone was not there
because that is so fucking good.
Yeah, it was actually that was actually an editorial note from another filmmaker friend of mine. Shout out to Blake Dew. He's a brilliant director, writer in his own right. But he saw the edit and he's like, I think it needs some sort of a timer device. Some sort of a device. And then, I kind of brainstormed on that and I was like, oh yeah, it would just be the countdown on the phone. And luckily we had shot plates of the phone. So when you see the timer on the phone, that's all visual effects. Yeah. Hopefully not
Go
noticeably.
figure. I would have I would have thought it was real.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, some of
so
them
well
are
done.
like when he sets the timer, that's all real. But a lot of the countdown shots when we just cut to the phone by itself, those are all visual effects, and we had the ability to do that because we had the plates.
And I mean, your filmmaking instincts were like, well, that might be a. I'm dancing around spoilers, but
It's
needless to
okay.
say, you even like the ending, like the timer
Mm-hmm.
gives the audience one moment of hope,
Yeah.
right? And that's great storytelling.
In that moment where it's like almost quiet and you hear the crows, you're like, oh, I guess that they're gonna be okay.
They're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And
that was a big part of the ending. I wanted it to feel ambiguous, and probably we ended up on a version that's less ambiguous than originally I imagined. But at the end of the script, it just says fade to white. So we're kind of left to imagine what happens to the main characters and if they'll be okay or if they won't. But in the final version, I think it's still a little bit ambiguous, but maybe a little less so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm all in on one version, but ambiguity is always valid, and it's true.
Yeah.
You don't know what happened, but
I think the best films like end with question marks rather than periods or exclamation points.
well, yeah,
In a good
yeah,
way.
Yeah. No,
you know
no,
what
I mean, no, I love when it's left up to interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm just very into one version of your story.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Shame
Well,
on-
if it's the
I'm really like,
version,
look, if they don't die now, they're gonna die later. Like we're all gonna die
We're all gonna
someday. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I am you live on this planet long enough. Something they don't tell you when you're young. You actually when you're young, this is like something I just need to share in the moment.
No,
which
please.
is that when you're young, you think as you get older, you'll get used to loss. And like, the first time a grandparent passes or this or that. And what no one actually tells you is they add up. Mm-hmm. That you don't become desensitized to it. That's why older people get so sensitive about lifespan and things because
they've lost so much at that point.
Each one just adds to the backlog in your heart of loss, and then you just like it really is something from. So anyway, that's
that is pretty brilliant. Yeah, to think about. I haven't thought of it that way before, but I think you're right. Yeah.
I mean, because like honestly, like I'm deep into middle age, maybe even creeping up on 60, and like I'll have conversations with friends from high school, and it's like, yeah, how often do you feel like crying in the shower? Oh, like a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Like you just like realize like why does hearing an old song make you emotional? And the truth is because you think about how much has changed and all the people who aren't here anymore, and it's something.
Yeah, nothing will bring up tears for me more than the right song.
Yeah.
And just to like bring it back to The Last Light, that song that we used was something that I had written in the script, and because it was so perfect for the moment, I was like, I don't know how we're gonna get this song, but we're gonna get this song. We're gonna get it. And so this is the song.
And you're experienced enough from your career that you knew you can't just steal it.
Can't steal it. I was like, the only shot I have is just to reach out to this artist directly and ask him. That's the best shot I have. The song's called An Unkindness of Ravens by Sanders Bulk. And it's such a brilliant, mainly acoustic song, dark, but emotional, and there's hope underlining it. It was just the perfect song. And he wrote this in 2010. So this is an old song. And it's been used in other like TV shows and stuff before, but like not a lot of people know the song. So we're editing the film. I'm doing long sessions with my friend Jared Einson, who was the producer on the film, who was there with me for a lot of the editing process, especially the refinement part. But we get to the point where we're like, okay, the film's kind of done. We need to figure out what we're doing about this song. I'm like, oh yeah, the song.
Right,
So,
because you were using it
I was
as a
using
temp
it.
track.
I was using it as a temp track, but in my head I was like, we're gonna use this song. So, But I got to the point where I was like, okay, I have to like reach out to this artist now. So I exported a version of the movie that had his name in the credits for the music, had the song in there. It had everything. It was probably 99% of the film that you see now. And I made a private link with a password, and I reached out to him cold on Instagram and basically was just like, look, I am a filmmaker, and I have been a fan of your music for going on 10 years now, which is the truth. He's one of my favorite artists. And this is a shot in the dark, almost like a message in a bottle. Will you please just watch this film where we've used your song, An Unkindness of Ravens, and if you could find it in your heart, like I went on, I tried to tug on his heartstrings, but basically just asked him if we could have permission to use the song for free. 2 days later, he responds back, and he was like, this film is incredible. Yeah, he's like, the film's incredible. Absolutely, you can use this song. The only thing I ask, this is him, he goes, let me run it by my manager. And then after he hears back from the manager, he goes,
I was going to say, so when you read that, you went, oh, fuck, I might lose it.
I know, yeah, no,
the manager might kill it.
Yeah, or might ask for money, or, which we didn't have.
But it also sounds like you have good musical taste where this isn't like a massi's artist.
Right.
This is an artist who can tell their manager, I want to do this, and the manager ain't going to like fight him.
For sure, 100%. Yeah, he's very much, he's so talented, but he's still a little bit on the underground. And so he gets back to me. He's like, all right, the only thing that my manager asked is, he goes, well, this guy's clearly a very talented director. Do you think he would direct something for you? Yeah. He goes, will you direct
something you'd want to do?
Yeah, exactly. Something I would pay money to do, which I ultimately ended up putting money into a video for him. But he basically was like, yeah, you can use the song, you can use the music. All the music you hear in the film is from him. Was already pre-recorded and kind of used in the film, which I think works perfectly. But he goes, in exchange, can you just like shoot some maybe 15 seconds worth of like visual content for my new album that's coming out? Here's a link. It's unreleased. Listen to the new album. I'm like, this is incredible. I was like, how about I just direct a music video for you? I was like, he's like, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, great. So, cut to February of this year, we're shooting a music video, which now you can find on YouTube. It's called Screaming Underwater by Sanders Bulk. And that was such a fun experience and probably one of my favorite music videos I've ever made. But that was sort of the backstory with that one. It was just like an exchange of services. But again, like you said, it was something that I would have done for free.
Yeah, and
I would love to.
Also, well, you had a musical background, so you clearly care about music. But also, I know, I mean, I watched it this morning, so I know the song a little. And obviously the tone and thoughtfulness in your film, he's a kindred spirit to that tone and thoughtfulness, right? Like this, you made a film that a person like him is just going to love.
Yeah, so. Luckily he got it right away and, understood the melancholy of it all and saw it the way I saw it. So I didn't have to really sell it too much. He just saw it right away. And
that's so cool. Yeah. And I that is actually a fantastic story that the manager, like the strings attached were not, did not resemble strings at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Just another opportunity that you'd want.
I would love to.
It's another thing on your resume that you did a music video for this artist.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was happy to we didn't spend a lot of money on it, but we spent money on like a location and stuff like that. When I say we, it was me. But I was happy to. But
by the way, bravo to you, because you also didn't do the, I'll do a music video for you. What's the budget you guys are putting up? You didn't do that to him.
No. No, I mean, I knew right away what the deal was. It was a transaction, I'm able to use his music, which works perfectly in this film, for free, and in exchange, I direct a music video for him. Really, it was a win-win for me, and it's a win-win for him.
I just got to ask, did any footage from The Last Light make it into the music video?
No, I wanted to keep it separate.
Part of me was like, damn, you could just rework The Last Light into a video.
Yeah, probably could have, but I wanted to...
But this is a different song.
this was a different song. And yeah, I wanted it to just be, I had a very specific vision for the music video. And again, luckily he saw it right away. And basically the treatment that I gave him, the video treatment that I gave him is like 99% of the video that you see now. And like, he didn't really have many notes. He was just like, yes, yes, yes.
So
and
cool.
he's very particular. He's like, man, I don't ever say this about people that I work with, but like, I have no notes. I mean, maybe he didn't say that exactly, but like he said something very similar. And just like the respect that I have for him as an artist, him saying that, I was like, man, that's very humbling to hear.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Humbling, cool, and just a wonderful symmetry. That it worked out.
I hope to work with him more in the future too. So we'll see.
Yeah, well now you probably got a phone number. So now if you want to use a song in the future,
yeah, for sure,
you're in even better shape. And the next time they need a music video made, Black Canvas might be their first call.
Exactly. Hopefully, that's the goal. And if anyone's listening to this podcast, I would encourage you to go check out his album. It's on Spotify and Apple Music. It's called "Looking for a God," and the song on YouTube that we directed and produced is called "Screaming Underwater." You can find that on.
It's a great title.
"Screaming Underwater."
Dang.
And his name is Sanders Bulk, Bohlke.
Bohlke. Mm-hmm. I'll type it. I'll
Yeah,
type
yeah,
it out
yeah.
later because that's not.
It's not
is
intuitive
is he
spelling.
Scandinavian or
Something like that. I think he's got some sort of a background like that. But he lives in Alabama. He's just a Southern guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unexpected. And here you are, a Houston guy, so that almost works out too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Kindred spirits for sure.
No, I was about to be cheesy and self-interested and go, we do have a music video category in our festivals, and honestly,
oh, that's interesting.
it always makes me laugh when like someone sends in a performance video where it's just like someone on stage, and I'm like, wait, you think an iPhone on a tripod, like not even multi-camera, like just you think that's a music video? Because I grew up in the 80s. Like music videos had stories. They were small films.
Well, this
They
one
were
has
cinema.
zero performance in it. It's
Right?
all narrative. Yeah, it's all narrative. So I think you'll like it.
That's what music videos should be.
Yeah, I agree. I think music videos are so fun. I really enjoy getting to work on them because it's almost like a short experimental film where there's no rules. You can literally do anything as long as it enhances the music.
All right, as a kid who was drumming and probably playing, probably piddling on piano and guitar too, or whatever, were you a kid who visualized music videos in your head even
All the time?
All the time. Yeah, I think that's another universal thing for filmmakers is you grow up listening to music, and every song you hear, you're directing a music video in your head.
Yeah, whether or not I'm meaning to or not, like I hear certain music and it just comes into my head and I see it. That was a lot of what this video was my process for like directing a video is like generally it's like listening to the song on repeat like 500 times and then slowly just starting to write things down that I see that I like. But this one came very quickly. And I think it's just a testament to his music. It's so cinematic, even his title, "Screaming Underwater." I was like, well, what would that look like?
Yeah, he's already told you, I guess I got to get an underwater camera.
No, but we cheated and I got an aquarium instead.
Oh,
and then we set it up in my garage, so I was able to shoot.
I keep
through the
hearing
glass.
about brilliant cheats. I remember someone did a brilliant cheat where they put a mirror underwater and then shot the mirror and it worked. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See?
Like if you watch the video, you would think that we were underwater. For sure. But yeah, I just
Because you know your shit. You know how to get it done.
Yeah.
Do it a little smart.
spend $50 on an aquarium on Facebook Marketplace, and then do it right.
It's a little better, than renting expensive equipment that you're going to use once.
Yeah, I went down the path of like, okay, I guess we're going to go underwater because there was a pool at this location we were shooting at, but ultimately I was like, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, and it's going to take such a big chunk of the day, and it's only needed in these small areas. So yeah, we went with the aquarium instead. And then there's the whole continuity thing of her getting wet and then having to get to outfits. It just opened up a whole can of worms.
And the music video is already out there. People can
It's out
catch
there. Yep, you can watch it.
Because we live in a world now MTV shows reality shows, and YouTube is the king of music video.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and sadly, not. I feel like the music video is kind of dying as an art form because of things like TikTok, where it's really less about having a full song out on YouTube, and it's more about just having like a little 15-second clip that could be a performance. Yeah, exactly. That people can dance to and listen to. But I don't know. I still love music videos as like a format and as a medium. I think it's just, like I said, it's like a experimental short film that there's no rules to. I just think it's a great art form.
Well, and this musical artist who you can say his name again.
Sanders Bulk
is releasing an album though, right? He told you there's a new album.
The album is released.
I still am. I'm still moaning the death of the album because most people just throw out tracks
Singles,
now.
Yeah.
There's no thought. We now have a college freshman in this family, and she doesn't even know what an album is.
No.
To her, it's just
Really?
one song after another on YouTube. Yeah, well, I would play a Harry Styles album from start to finish for her while we're hanging out at home doing a puzzle or something.
Right.
And I'm like, look, it's an album. Like it starts here and then it goes there, and then but I feel like most young people don't even get exposed to the concept of a 12-song album that takes you on a ride.
Yeah, it's really that's interesting. I don't have that perspective because maybe I don't have a daughter for one, or a kid at all. But I think that for artists for very specific type of musical artists that actually care, like an album is like this curated piece of work where every song, even down to like the order at which the songs play, is curated, and it's just such a beautiful experience to listen to from beginning to end. And that definitely goes for Sanders' album, Looking for a God. Like every song in order is just like you don't want to skip any of them. So yeah, I agree. It is maybe a dying art form, but who knows? This stuff is cyclical. I feel like things tend to come back.
Yeah, I amend that point because everything comes back.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes back smaller and a more artistic, but yeah, we still have art galleries.
Yep.
We still got museums. So we're going to have albums.
Stop motion animation.
Yeah. Yeah, all these things we thought would die off they never quite go away, and then they just serve a different purpose. But there'll always be thoughtful, interested people who want more from art than just one song.
And artists that look back to the past and kind of like revel in those things and want to like reinvent them. Like,
I know. My generation, we still talk about like side one and side two
Right.
with an album, which that's
where it started.
That went away, in the late 80s even, like once the CD came out, like you could have, you didn't have to flip the record.
Yeah.
But it used to be like sometimes the tone would be completely different on side two.
Yeah, but even with something like vinyl, you still have people that are like enthusiasts.
Vinyl came back. Thank you.
Yeah.
I sold all my vinyl.
Did you?
Well, it was to be more mobile. Lord knows.
Yeah. It takes
a
up a lot of
600
space.
record vinyl collection isn't so easy to move around with.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah.
But I kind of do feel. Anyway, this ain't about me. So since Last Light, and now you're doing more festivals, yeah?
Yeah, we are submitting to more festivals. Just doing that grind, doing that whole thing.
Yeah, it is a whole different. Oh, you did it with the previous film, yeah?
Yep.
So you're aware of the grind and that it's
very aware. Jeff, very aware. It is it's expensive and it's disheartening at times, and it can be fun and you get to meet cool people, but that stuff is kind of like few and far between the grind of it. It's just a grind. And I think a lot of people, maybe not anymore, but some filmmakers are surprised that they need to have money to submit to festivals, or that they need to be that it's such a long period of time that you're submitting one film that might be 12 months, it might be 18 months, kind of depends on a lot of different factors, but But yeah, no, I mean, I've now made 10 short films, and the last 6 of them like have like hit the festival circuit like pretty hard. So I feel now that I am done with short films.
You are done. That's why you've mentioned you're working on a
Yeah.
feature. Because
Yeah.
10, you hit 10?
I hit 10. I've made a feature length's worth of short films,
Right.
you know? And that's kind of like how I
You've
look
got
at
your
it.
own 90-minute anthology?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah,
or
yeah.
2-hour anthology?
Yeah, I haven't added up the minutes, but it's definitely a feature length. I think it's around 95 or 100.
Yeah, in theory,
minutes.
yeah, they should average between 10 and 15
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Some of them are longer, so maybe even longer than that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I love short films, but I feel like I'm ready to make a feature, because it's definitely been something that has been my goal since film school. And it's really the only business model that makes sense to anyone outside of like my close group of filmmaker friends. Like
Yeah,
there's no way to make money.
There's no
in a short film.
It's I say it too often that nobody makes a short film. In a way, I appreciate short films and short filmmakers who make shorts, because you really are doing it for the love of the art,
Of
because
cinema, yeah.
because no one has ever made a short film, and my pat line I say on this podcast, and rub their hands against it. Oh boy, when this hits YouTube and Vimeo, I'm gonna buy a big house. Like,
Open the floodgates.
like it's just like
Here we go.
You could get 100 million views on YouTube, and I guess YouTube, and if there's ads running,
Yeah,
on
if there's
it,
ads on it,
which
actually you could
often
make
with
money on.
music you can't even put ads, right? But yeah, you'd be like, hey, I made $117. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
there's just no model for it. But I want to add, instead of being silly like talking about that watching The Last Light, like, you are ready for a feature.
Thank you, Jeff.
From cinematography to every element of this film is well done.
Yeah, thank you,
So-
man.
so
Thank
there's-
you. I've always looked at each one as like a learning experience and kind of an individual film school in and of itself, like every film experience, every short film I've made. And I'm just always trying to make the next one better. And looking back on it, I think I was preparing myself for the experience of making a feature film, which is, I haven't had yet, but I can imagine, and I hear my friends talking about. I know that it can be 20 to 90 days of nonstop filmmaking, where every day is you're going to war, and the elements and the world is trying to stop you from doing the thing that you're trying to do, which is to capture magic in like lightning in a bottle. So I feel like I am ready for that. I was lucky enough to get approached by this writer out of Atlanta named Sky Crystal with a script that he wrote that he wanted me to direct. And I had always imagined that my first feature would be something that I wrote. I have a few feature scripts that are kind of ready to go, but nothing that I was like excited about for my first feature, because they're more higher concept, would need more money. I'm trying to make something that's like $1 million or less for my first one. So he brings me this script, him and his producing partner Wasim. They're based out of Atlanta, and I read it, and immediately I'm like, oh, this is incredible. It's a 1980s crime thriller, Western noir. Takes place mainly in one location, in this motel, where it's basically been turned into a brothel, and we're introduced to our main character, who's like in her early 20s. She's a prostitute, and she was sort of born into this life of tricking, essentially. And we're introduced to her. She gets her assignment for the night, and she goes to this room, opens the door to meet the client, and we learn that he's not interested in sleeping with her. He's actually offers her a lot of money to just keep him company for the night, because we learn that he's kind of got some demons of his own, and he's on the run from some people that really want to hurt him. So as the story unravels, we start to learn more about him, and ultimately in the end, they kind of end up being each other's way out of this life that both of them are kind of find themselves in. And what really attracted me to it was like, the story takes place all in one location for the most part, which I'm like, that's great. We can build on a soundstage. We can shoot it in 20 days or less, and we don't have to spend a lot of money on it. And the dialogue and the characters are like so tactile and real, and nothing about them seems forced or fake. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one. I won't mention the title because likely it'll change. But anyway, so that's one that I'm really excited about, and hopefully, we just brought on Jared Einstein as the producer who produced The Last Light, and so we are like kind of at the bottom of the mountain in terms of raising funds for it. But the script's ready. We have a deck. We have a budget. So now we're kind of just going to the races and starting to bring it out to people.
And there's a role for Herman in it?
There might be a role for Herman. Yeah. I have to think about it.
Honestly, I'm just super impressed with both actors in The Last Light.
Yeah.
And the fact that you and Herman have this history.
For sure.
And
we can find a role for Herman, for sure.
And obviously Fiona too. Like,
yeah.
Who knows? But
yeah, definitely. I imagine certain people, certain actors in my life, like I will continue to work with for years and years. So if it's not this one, it'll be the next one.
And I find that rewarding as a viewer, right? As a fan.
Yeah.
Like, it is cool when you reach that point where you're like, oh, it's like a repertory company, and like, who are they going to be this time? And then you totally accept it, you know?
Yeah.
It's
a lot of directors have like certain actors that they came up with and then continue to be in some of their films. Like, certainly Tarantino's got those, and
Tarantino's got his.
PTA's
but hey, even
got those.
Right? Even James Cameron. How many times was Bill Pullman and shit? Like over and over, just.
Or Bill Paxton.
Oh, is it Paxton? I got the wrong
yeah,
Bill.
Yeah. Bill Paxton, who I actually met, had the
he was
privilege
a Texas guy,
of working with.
Or...
I worked with him on the first feature I ever worked on called.
God, that was a shitty loss.
Red Wing. Oh man, yeah.
Such a great guy.
He was incredible. He came and worked on this set that I was just like a PA on for like 3 days, and those 3 days he commanded the set. Like, not to take anything away from the director, but Bill was directing when he was in the scene, and it wasn't coming from a place of arrogance. It was coming from a place of experience and wisdom. Man, he was just magical to like be on set with and to talk to. It was such a bad loss, such a terrible loss.
Yeah, just untimely.
Yeah, and funny enough, Luke Perry was on that film as well. I got to work with him too, and then we lost him as well.
Oh man, yeah. But Bill. Also, I just want to mention, like, he always shined. Like every film, every scene,
incredible.
He stole scenes from Schwarzenegger. He stole scenes from everyone.
Yeah,
all the time.
Just so incredible.
I got to tell you, whatever the charisma is, it's amazing. Well, at the last festival that you were in, our closing night film was a documentary, but it had Barry Bostwick in it, who you might know from Sin City and Rocky Horror and stuff like that. And, we're talking about an actor in his 70s who's been a professional actor, like on Broadway and whatnot for over 50. In fact, he was in the first production of Grease that was off Broadway. He was the first. Oh,
wow. Who is he in Sin City? Is he like the priest?
I don't know.
I'll have to look it up. Sorry.
I don't know. But I swear Do Not Disturb was on. But he was there for the Q&A. Like, I knew I was going to lose control of Q&A. That was in my last Q&A ever. And then he just ruled that the 70 people in that room were hanging on his every word from the moment it started. And I literally, I eventually said it in the microphone. I knew I was going to lose control of this Q&A. I didn't know what would happen before it started. And I had to jump in and present them with an award. Like,
right.
Here's your award. Now go ahead, take over. I don't need to say a thing.
Yeah, it makes your job easy at that point, right?
But it's just amazing when there's a person like, and you're just looking at them like, you're not like the rest of us.
They command the room. That's how Bill was, for sure. That's how Bill Paxton was.
Yeah, for sure. And then that comes through into the lens and onto the screen. It's fascinating.
Absolutely fascinating. I hope to work with many actors that are like that.
Yeah, and you can tell. I mean, at this festival level, when you watch blocks of festivals, you know, sometimes there's an actor and you're just like, wow, I really hope they get somewhere because they deserve it. Sometimes people just leap off the screen and you don't know why. You can't tell when you're meeting them.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I honestly think Fiona, and Herman, but Fiona is definitely one of those people where, I mean, you gravitate towards her personality, and like everyone that meets her is like, wow, Fiona's fantastic. But you put her in front of a camera and it's like something opens up to where she's able to just be this vulnerable, like soul-bearing human. And she obviously cares about the work too, so she does all of her research and character work. But man, she's unlike anyone else I've ever worked with in that way, where it's just so natural.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do you... It's crazy. Yeah. Soul-bearing is the best way I could put it.
Yeah, I know. I almost want to add to that, but I won't because you said it better. So I will let us move on. So besides that feature, and you're done with shorts, but you're focused on that feature.
Right. Well, just to add a little asterisk to that.
Couple irons in that fire?
Well, I'm like, you know what would really help sell this feature is to make a short version of it. So here I am again. So we're going to make a little proof of concept slice of the script that's just kind of like helps raise money for the investors and also gives some confidence to whatever actors that we approach that don't know me. And aren't familiar with my work or what I can do. I think it'll, anytime I think as filmmakers we can like take away doubt from people, I think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, you know what I failed to mention this entire discussion is that in spite of in addition to all your artistic skills, you did inherit your dad's brain for business, right? As we often say, the producer. And sometimes people shit on that skill set, but to have a practical business mind, with the arts is critical to get anywhere.
100%.
And you think like a producer.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've definitely produced a lot of my own things and stuff for other people. But no, yeah, you nailed it. I remember reading very early on, literally on a plane to go visit Full Sail back in 2008. I'm reading Rebel Without a Crew by Robert Rodriguez. And he mentioned something along the lines of, us creative people have a luxury of being able to learn the technical side, learn the business side, learn the right brain side or left brain. I forget which one it is, the logical thing, but learn the logical thinking, learn the business side. Whereas people that are business minded, that are practical, logical minded, don't necessarily have the ability to learn the creative side. You can never teach yourself how to be creative. You either have it or you don't. So that stuck with me early on. I was like, oh yeah, it would behoove me to kind of learn some of this business stuff as I go. And certainly even now today, like as I manage projects and stuff, like I'm big on spreadsheets. I'm big on like organization, which is kind of, to some people, counterintuitive to the creative, but not to me. I think it all works together.
No, because it frees you to be more creative, to know that stuff is handled properly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, because nothing can kill creativity like, oh shit, we can't pull this off. People show up and they're not sure what to do.
Right. Oh man.
Nothing good's going to happen.
Yeah, no, my confidence as a director comes from like my prep and like my notes and like my just like the work that I've done beforehand that people either are aware of or aren't aware of, but if they need to know, it's printed out and you have it over there. You know what I mean? Like I have everything shot listed, scheduled, storyboarded, everything, almost to like a point where like some of my friends that are also filmmakers like make fun of me though. Are you gonna like storyboard every B-roll shot? I'm like, yeah, I am. Yeah. I want to know that it works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not to say you have to stick with it because, a lot of times you have to abandon the plan, but like just knowing there's a plan.
But you're also so familiar with post that I bet you're covering enough ground that you can also do something creative in the editing room.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would not feel free enough to kind of explore those happy accidents or those ideas that are outside of the plan if I didn't have a plan that I knew worked. You know what I mean? It frees me. So that's what gives me confidence as a director, is like that work that's already done.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, I feel like we've reached a natural conclusion. Look at us.
Great.
Right on time, too.
Yeah. How was it like 15 minutes?
We're at an hour 19.
Oh,
Which
great.
Is perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Honestly, most people, it's around an hour. So Black Canvas website,
Yep.
Vimeo, all that.
Blackcanvas.com, Black Canvas on Vimeo as well. But yeah, check out blackcanvas.com. Has all the work, has all the music videos and commercial work that we've done.
I just typed it, but we will make it a clickable link in the show
Great.
notes as promised.
Great.
And if and when people can watch The Last Light, I demand that they watch it because
Thank you, Jeff.
Because it's beautiful.
Thank you,
beautiful
man.
work.
Thank
Beautiful
you.
work.
Thank you very much. I think, now is as good a time as any for people to kind of just come together and realize that this life is finite and could be gone in the blink of an eye. And that's kind of, I think, what the conceit of the film is. It's just to hope to remind people to be more present and
Yeah, we
grateful.
had a juror or two. Did you get to go to many screenings at
Yeah.
filming? I don't know if you got to see When the Clocks Stop.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
It won Best Featurette, but
Okay.
very, very different film from
Right.
there. But so I've had jurors comment on, wow, we're getting like a few more end of the world films than usual. I'm like, why do you think that is? Like, it's pretty obvious that the creative community is dealing with what we all are dealing with,
Yeah.
which is
Questions.
more so than in the last,
Sure.
Well, I think I already gave away my age in this podcast, but like, I have less clue about what's going to happen next year than I ever have. So
I'm with you, brother.
So the storytelling should match that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I know. I teased another juror. I won't bother sharing another juror story. Let's do the wrap up so we can get to, because the podcast after this one, people should listen to the one after this, because Drew's going to answer the 4 questions, which I won't bother listing right now. So first of all, thank you.
Where do we go when we die is the first question, right? No, I'm kidding.
Where do we go?
That's a different podcast.
Amusingly, now I am going to do a funny tangent, which is, of all the funny things, a podcast with Ed Norton, the actor Edward Norton.
Of course.
He mentioned a book called Buddhism Without God, or Atheistic Buddhism. I forget what it was. And I read it, and it basically said, look, just get down to Buddhism boils down to 2 things. You only know 2 things for sure in life. You know you're not going to live forever. You know you will die someday, and you don't know when. Those are the only 2 things you know for sure.
Fair enough.
And knowing that, how does that inform how you should behave?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, my answer was, you should be as kind to everyone as often as possible. And then I realized, if you're a sociopath, that means fuck everyone over because it's all going to end. So I'm it doesn't quite. But anyway, why did I bring that up? I don't know. But because we were talking about why artists are exploring the end of the world,
Right.
which just puts you in touch with all the cavemen, all the Neanderthals, because we've been telling stories of the end of the world. Every generation has wondered, wow, is this it?
100%.
And
Well
I'll
said.
share one last fun. I'm a science nerd, and there's a little bit of a dinosaur moment in your film, right? And
Definitely.
we are closer, I believe, the last dinosaurs. We are closer in years to them than those dinosaurs and the first dinosaurs.
Wow.
Like, my years are off.
Wow.
But
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what
the
you
last dinosaur walked the earth 200 million years ago, but it was 700 million years between that dinosaur and the first. So, like,
more than
like
twice.
still,
Yeah. That's wild. That is one of those things that just kind of blows your mind when
right?
when
in
you
the
think
time of
about
the solar system, and the time of the galaxy, and the time of the universe, we've had consciousness on this planet for like barely the tick of one clock.
Right.
Like less than a second of the history of the universe. It's crazy.
Speaking of the really quick small
Yeah.
tangent, but you mentioned the little dinosaur moment in The Last Light. That is that moment where you see the caveman blow. That is from The Traveler. That is The Traveler that he's watching. So I put a little Inception, my last short, into my new short. Yeah.
And the same actor.
Yeah, it's literally the film. It's from the film.
So
Yeah. And the same actor. Yeah.
See, now if I see, that would have been cool to know before. Now I got to watch it again.
Yeah.
Got to start crying again. All right.
So funny.
I will do the rap. Well, first, I always thank you. Thank you for being here, Drew.
Thank you, Jeff, honestly, for everything that you've done with the festival and with this podcast. It's very cool for filmmakers. It's really cool what you're doing.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the kindness. All right. Well, everyone listening, besides going to blackcanvas.com, the clickable link, go to discoverindiefilm.com to learn more about this podcast. Like and subscribe. I mentioned kindness. Be kind. Write a review. I think there are a decent number of reviews, but I always, and this is no pressure on you, Drew, but I always like to joke that, so this is episode number 600, I believe. I didn't say that in the intro, did I? But that means about 300 guests, and I know there's not 300 reviews. So it's funny. I don't have a review.
You're about to get one more review.
You think you'd have a review per guest, but obviously people, it doesn't matter. But
reviews help. No. If you're listening to this, give it a good review, especially if you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
And enjoy what Jeff's doing with the podcast.
Please do. Yeah, it's funny. All right, so discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. If you go to discoverindiefilm.org, that is the nonprofit that runs 2 film festivals in the Los Angeles area, and both are in the top 100 best reviewed on Film Freeway list. Film Freeway is the monopoly of film submission to festivals. So the fact that we have our little nonprofit runs 2 of the top 100 out of 14,000 worldwide makes us very proud.
Yeah, you should be proud about that.
And so that's how you learn about that. And from that site, it actually will link you to both ShermanOaksFF.com for Sherman Oaks Film Festival we run every December, and FilmVasionLA.com, which Film Invasion Los Angeles is where we showed Drew's film. Had the world premiere of Drew's film, The Last Light.
Absolutely.
And both of those at Sherman Oaks FF is social media. At Film Invasion LA is social media. I have quit social media. Man, I quit in January, so I'm 8 months into my quit. And so my awesome podcast producer, Karina, answers questions if you write to at DIFWins on social media. But if you write to Blue Sky, I'm actually on Blue Sky because no one's on. I can check Blue Sky every morning and be like, okay, still quiet. But it's done wonders for me to be off social media.
That's all that matters.
Mostly off social media. I've read books.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
I didn't plan to read books, but 4 days after not looking at Instagram anymore, I was like, oh, there's a book on my nightstand I wanted to read.
Fantastic.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure. I know I gotta realign. Well, I'll turn into like a massive hippie with like no tech except for the festival. All right. I think I know. Oh wait. So I mentioned Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion Los Angeles. Those are sister festivals, same team, same vibe, same everything, just different names when we moved them 6 months apart. But they are getting a cousin next year, January 2026. Film Invasion is born in Peru with Film Invasion Lima. There's been that's a fun story, but I'm looking forward to it. And I can say thank you to Drew one more time.
Thank you, Jeff.
And thank you to everyone who's listening.